Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from OnlinePhotographyTraining.com. Last week I was contacted by the CEO of a company called Excire. Excire is the creator and distributor of a Lightroom plugin that allows you to do super fast and easy searches for images in your Lightroom library. The cool thing about this plugin is that you didn't already have to have had entered keywords for your images or have your images sorted in a very specific way within your Lightroom catalog. You could have your images all mixed up, like wedding images mixed up with wildlife images mixed up with landscape images. It doesn't matter, and you don't have to have any keywords in there at all. It goes through each and every image in your Lightroom library and assigns its own set of keywords. It has this technology where it could look at your image and decide whether there's, let's say, a wall in the image, a mountain in the image, a tree in the image, whether or not you're on the beach, or whether or not there's a specific type of animal in the image. It's really uncanny, actually, how well it does. And the nice thing about it is it doesn't assign these keywords and write them to the image. So it leaves the metadata of the image intact. So it writes it to its own database. Then you're able to very quickly search for a specific type of image. Now, the CEO contacted me and he wanted to pay me to do a video on their product. And those of you that have read my Code of Ethics statement, and if you haven't already read it, I'll have a link to it in the description below this video, know that I don't do paid reviews or make paid videos. And I explained that to him. And the reason why I won't is, what if I don't like the product? I'd have to lie to you, basically, and I just don't think that's ethical. So I explained that to him, and I told him if he wants to send me the plugin and allow me to do an honest review, I'm more than happy to do it. So he sent me the plugin, and actually I'm really impressed with the product. It really, really works well. There are a couple shortcomings. I'm going to talk about it in a moment, but overall, I think it's one of the best Lightroom plugins I ever used. So when you install the plugin, the first thing you have to do after it's installed is you have to initialize your photos. It has to go through your Lightroom library and look at each and every image in your Lightroom library and decide what is in that image. And it will create its own set of keywords for your image. And again, it doesn't write those keywords to your image. It keeps it to its own database. This initialization process is the most lengthy. It takes the most time. They say that for 10,000 images, it will take about an hour. So for every 10,000 images in your Lightroom library, it will take about an hour to do this initialization. I found it takes a little longer than that. When I ran this in my Lightroom library, I had 54,525 images. It took 9.5 hours to finish. So it takes longer than they claim. The good thing, though, is that if you have to stop it, you're able to. And then when you restart it, it doesn't start from the beginning. It will just pick up right where it left off. Also, it doesn't tie your computer up when it's running. You could do other things, although it will run slower if you're doing other things because you're demanding more CPU time for those other things. But they recommend you run it overnight when you're not using your computer, and it hopefully will be done when you wake up in the morning. And like I mentioned, for my 54,525 set of images, you can see 54,525, this is a screenshot, it took 9.5 hours. Also, when you do this, if you have your images on an external hard drive, that external hard drive has to be plugged in and accessible because it looks at the actual images. If that plugin or that hard drive is not plugged in and accessible, you have to hopefully have smart previews so that it could look at a high resolution image basically to discern what's in that scene. Once you do that, though, it really works well. And I mean, I was kind of shocked how well it works. So here's my Lightroom, and this is my library. And we're going to go up to Library and go down to Plugin Extras. And down here where it says Excire Search, This is everything you could do. And this one choice, initialize photos, that is what you have to do at the beginning. And that's what takes a long time. Now, one shortcoming, or at least what many people think might be a shortcoming for the program, and I don't think it's a shortcoming myself, is when you add new images to your Lightroom library, you have to run the initialization over again. But the good thing is it doesn't start from the beginning and it take all that time. It just initializes your new images. So recently I went out after I did this initial initialization and I took around 550 pictures. I added them to my Lightroom library. It doesn't automatically do it. You have to go in here and go back to initialize photos again, and it will initialize just those new images. In my case, it was 550, and it took like less than 2 minutes. So it does do that fairly quickly. You have to manually do it. A lot of people want it to automatically do it. So as soon as you do a new import, it would automatically do it. But the little bit I know about computers and computer programming and having plugins, if you have something hovering over Lightroom looking for you to add new images to Lightroom, it's going to take up some of your CPU and computer resources, and it would probably slow down Lightroom. So I'm glad it doesn't do that. I'm glad that you have to tell it to do it. That way, Lightroom isn't bogged down at all by this plugin. So that's why I like it. So we're going to search by keyword. And I didn't enter keywords. I'm a bad photographer. I don't enter keywords religiously for every image I import, and I should. But if you don't, if you're like me, let's say you want to search for gorilla. And then right away it's going, I have 1,371 gorilla pictures apparently in my Lightroom library. And I could search within that search for a dominant color. In this case, I'm not going to. And then even though it's showing that I have this 1,371 images, how do I want to return? Do I want to return all of them or just part of them? You could return between, I believe, 1 and 5,000, or 10. So as low as 10 or as many as 5,000. I'm going to let's do a smaller number just so we could go relatively quickly. Let's go 200. Make it a nice round number. All right, let's go 200. So we're going to return 200 and we're going to overwrite any previous results. There are no previous results, but I'll explain that in a minute. But let's just do start. So we're going to search for gorillas in my Lightroom library, and it's done. It found all the gorillas. And as I mentioned, if you look at keywording, I don't have any keywords in there at all. It did it all on its own. And so these are all pretty bad images of gorillas. And you can see most of them aren't processed. I probably should process. Some of them are decent. I probably should process some of these someday. So you can see I'll go through. And the way I found it, it seems to do the best choices, what it believes are the most closely matched images first. And then the one that it thinks, or the ones that they think are more poorly matched, are towards the end. And you can see, I think it did a pretty good job. Lots of gorillas. So it found these gorillas very easily. And what it does is it puts them in a collection. So you could see Excire Search. Now, if you do another keyword search, let's just do library, plugin extras, and then go down to search by keyword. By default, it's going to have that gorilla still there. So we could reset this search. And let's say we're searching for something else. This overwrite previous results it will empty out this collection of gorillas, and it will put whatever our new search is inside of this collection. If I uncheck that box, it will leave this collection there, and it will create a second collection of our new search. So you could preserve your searches more or less. But there's other ways to search. You probably noticed when I was at library, plugin extras, there's by the example photo. So you could have an example photo displayed here, and it will search for attributes that are similar to that photo and try to find more of that photo. Example photo with previous. So you could do this search, come out with a bunch of images. then let's say you have one that is standing out from that group and you want to narrow it down even further. Select that image in the film strip, then select example photo with the previous search. So it's basically searching within your previous results. Let's do this, search by external example photo. And what I did is I downloaded from Adobe Stock this image of a lion. This isn't my picture. This is something that I downloaded from Adobe Stock. So I'm going to go to a local file. I have it on my desktop. It's right there on my desktop. So I'm going to browse for a local file, and I'm going to go to desktop, and there it is, Adobe Stock, and it's this lion picture. And we'll click choose. And I'm going to search in the whole catalog. You have the option to just search within your film strip down here, but I'm going to search the whole catalog, and we'll display the 100 closest matches. And the search criterion is photo content. You also could search for just the color. So if you're looking for images that maybe you're creating a collage or something and you want to find all images that have red in it, you could do that. But we're going to search by photo content, and I'm going to overwrite the previous results. So it's going to empty out the gorillas from this collection and add, hopefully, lions. And we'll click start. And it's doing its thing, and it did. It found lions. Look at that. There's lions. And you can see most of them are processed. I like that one. And you could go through. So it even though that was a male lion from Adobe Stock, it even found female lions from the Buffalo Zoo as well. So it really did a pretty cool job. Now another thing it will do is if you found a picture on the internet somewhere, and you think that picture, maybe you think that it doesn't have to, but let's create a scenario here. You're surfing the internet and you found a picture and you go, that's my picture. But you can't find it in your Lightroom library because you have so many images in your Lightroom library. Well, you could go to that website. Let's say the San Diego Zoo, and we have this image here. And copy the URL of that image. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy image address. And then we're going to go back to our Lightroom library and we're going to go up to library, down to plugin extras. And again, we're going to search by external example photo. And you can see there's keyword shortcuts for all of these. So you don't have to always go up to that menu. This time we're going to search by the URL. And I'm going to put that URL in there from the San Diego Zoo. I'm going to search my whole catalog. I'm going to return 100 of the closest matches. Photo content, we're going to overwrite the previous results and click start. And theoretically, it should look at that image somewhere on the internet and it found giraffes. Now it found all my giraffe pictures. I probably should process these someday. These are all raw files, as you can see. There's the Columbus Zoo. Here's Buffalo Zoo. Columbus Zoo again. But as I go through, you can see, it just found giraffe pictures. Isn't that uncanny? Now, there's other ways you could search too. I'm not going to go through them all in this video, but I'll just briefly show them. We search by the example photo. Again, I mentioned that's the one you have displayed. You could search then, like kind of drill down. Once you do a search, pick one of those images that are found in that search and kind of refine it by searching with that example photo with the previous search. External example photo, two ways. An image that's on your computer or an image that is somewhere on the internet. We did search by keyword. You could search by faces. Then we have these transfer keywords. With the Pro version of the software, and I'm going to talk about it in a minute, you're able to transfer the keywords that it applied to an image, take those keywords and put them to your Lightroom catalog. So it will write then the image to the metadata, but you have to tell it to do it. It does not, by default, write anything to your metadata. This is to begin with, you initialize photos. Then update photos. If you process an image and you did a lot of heavy processing to it and maybe cropped stuff, maybe you ran the initial initialization on the raw file and the raw file had, let's say, a giraffe, a for a better thing. Maybe it had a lion, a specific type of bird in the picture. It had a mountain and a tree. And you crop it so that all that's left really is the lion, and you cropped out the mountain, the tree, and the bird. You have to update it because then it will rewrite and get rid of those keywords that are the tree and the, whatever you cropped out. So if you do heavy processing to an image, you should update the photos. And that's, again, just takes seconds. It does not take a long time to do that. So we have these other options. Now, it's not perfect. I did find that it did make a mistake on something specific, and I'm going to show you. We're going to go here, and I'm going to search for bicycle. And you can see that it shows 19 images of bicycles. So I'm going to search for those, and I'm going to just return. I have it set to 200, but it's going to return just the 19 because it doesn't have 200 to return. And we're going to search the whole catalog, and I'm going to click Start. And it found the bicycles, and it did. It found some really bad pictures I took of bicycles. Now look at this. This bike is way over here, but it found it. There's bikes, 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 bikes. Here's where it made a mistake. There's no bike in these shots. So it made a mistake. Now, one shortcoming it has, and at least I haven't figured out how to do it, I'd like it to be able to allow me to go in and manually edit out this from a bicycle search so it doesn't come up again in the search. There's no way that I know of that I've seen how to do that. So every time I search for bicycles, these 6 images are going to show up, even though there's not a bike in the image. In this one here, look there's only the rear wheel of the bike, but it found it. So there is, it's not perfect, but I found that it does work incredibly well. Now, I mentioned there's 2 different versions of the software. There is the Pro version and the regular version. So there's Excire Search and there's Excire Search Pro. The main differences are in the Excire Search Pro has 500 additional keywords. So it's a little more refined as far as keywords. So if you're a professional and you really need to do refined searches, the Pro version may be better, maybe the better of the 2 versions to use. The other is, remember I mentioned that it does not write the keywords to the metadata, but with the Pro version, it allows you to do that if you want it to. You have to tell it to do it. That's only available in the Pro version. They call it the keyword transfer function. So that is that. Now, they have the 2 versions. Excire Search, as of the making of this video, is $69. And as of the making of this video, it is Thursday, September 20th, 2018. You can see it's $69. It's available for Mac and Windows. But they have here, Dear Excire Search friends, please wait with the purchase until the start of Photokina on September 26, 2018. We will promise you it will be worth it. So they're implying that this is going to be on sale when Photokina kicks off on September 26th of 2018. So you may want to wait. But there is a trial version. The trial version works for 15 days. So perfect. What I suggest you do, download the trial version. But the trial version is, well, it does say Search or Search Pro. The Search Pro is on sale too well, at least they're implying it's going to be on sale at the beginning of Photokina on September 26, 2018, and it's $119. So again, that's available for Mac and Windows. What I recommend still you do is download the trial version, see if it works for you. I really liked it, as you could tell. So I asked to become an affiliate. So they were nice enough to allow me to be an affiliate. And if you want to support my videos, you could use my links to purchase the product, and I will make a commission on it. If you don't, that's fine. Just purchase it on your own. I'll have links. Or you could just go to excire.com, us.excire.com, and purchase it. They did give me a 10% discount code for the Pro version. So if you do want to purchase it, and save 10%, purchase the Pro version, you could use my discount code. And all that will be linked below this video. So I like it. I think it works pretty well, and I'm going to use it, especially for someone like me that always knows that they should put keywords in their images. They should have their images better sorted. I didn't start out my Lightroom library and sorting it properly. I should have done that. And many times I do have to find a very specific image, and it takes me a long time to find it. I believe that this plugin's really going to help speed up and help me find my images much more quickly. Thank you, everyone that watches my videos. I truly do appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys soon.